Hello everyone! Actually I have quite a few Warhammer figures to review right now, but for this video I decided to give away to a veteran, an old man and simply a master of the Blood Angels chapter Dante. This is an unusual Space Marine figure in terms of visuals, but in terms of equipment everything is more than standard. There is a stand with a bracket for a flight display and a modest set of accessories. As always, let's start with a detailed review of the figure appearance. The armor is painted in a pleasant golden color, and Dante's legs are already unusual as possible. The armor has many anatomical features. For example, his feet have open toes, as if he were wearing sandals. Very tightly worked out, even hypertrophied calf muscles, and general relief shins and knees. On the sides of each leg there is a skull with a wing. This, as far as I understand, is not only decoration, but also special flaps to use in combination with the jump pack. They are not articulated here, but for example, the Ultramarine Primaris have similar moving parts in this place. The hips do not stand out against the shins. The belt is represented by white aquila. This is a skull with wings, on the sides of which small pendants are fixed, in the form of a coat of arms of the Blood Angels. The skull itself fixes a very soft rubber part of the bandage hanging down. It's supposed to be just a red piece of cloth fabric with 3 black tears at the bottom. Someone would call it a tabard, but it is just a belt bandage. On the right side of the belt there is a double purity seal, with a rather long pray text. Dante has a pair of grenades behind his belt that are not entirely clear to me. I thought this is just a unique crack grenades, but recently someone told me that this is some kind of pouches. On the stomach there are nice abs, another anatomical detail. On the chest there is the white aquila, combined with the emblem of the Legion, which sometimes is called the wings of Sanguinius. On the left shoulder part there is again an aquila, which is immediately duplicated on the backpack. And in the form of a coat of arms there is a separate red tear in the forearm. On the right side everything is the same except for the shoulder part. The color here is red, it's made in the main color of the Legion and has rather modest decorations, in the form of a skull and a ribbon with the inscription Dante. I can also highlight the reinforced knuckles on the gloves. The backpack is fairly standard Primaris jump pack. The decoration is presented only with the Legion emblem and a wing on the flap. But I want to draw the attention that engine nozzles painted blue. It is nice that there is an imitation that they are burning and the backpack is working. Under the flap we can see standard engines for the Primaris backpack, and the internal rib structure on the flaps themselves. I think this is an air intake or air duct like those air intakes hidden behind the head. The head itself is also unique. It is an angelic mask, on the sides of which we can see technical tubes, but the front part is literally a face with a nose, an open mouth, blue glowing eyes, hair and Legion emblem. A green wreath and even sun-shaped halo attached to the back of the head and wrapped with a ribbon underneath. Which is actually very unusual because such type of decorations are always found attached to the armor from the back and not on the head. The weapon set is rather modest, power axe with a skull and a wing. To be honest, I'm very surprised that the head of the chapter, essentially a Legion that loves sabers, swords, where the Primarch fought only with a sword and a spear, suddenly has such a crude tool as an axe as his main weapon. The second weapon is the Inferno pistol with the emblem of the chapter, and a charm on the handle, similar to a purity seal, only without the seal itself. The articulation is typical for basic Primaris, but there are a couple of interesting points. The foot hinge is a bit higher, which even gives them a wider range of motion, while the hips are limited to moving forward, by those same 2 small emblem pendants on the sides of the belt, because they are molded together with it. Otherwise, double knee joints, elbows, belt, waist, chest, hands, arms, shoulders, everything is standard. There are some difficulties with the left arm, due to the fact that the outline of the shoulder part is enlarged here. It touches the backpack, but it is possible to turn the arm. The backpack has movable engine turbines and upper flaps. The head is standard, but with limitations in the form of a ribbon, a halo and a massive backpack, and it also almost always has a slight downward tilt. Dante's story is long, especially considering his age, because under the armor there is a not battle-hardened middle-aged man like Titus or even Calgar, but literally a 1000-year-old man with long grey hair and very tired face. For some people he has already become a meme, because he is so tired of ruling wards and space marines, constantly fighting Tyranids, Necrons, Daemons and Chaosites, and still nobody let him die, either in battles or from old age. Either his younger brother cheered him up, or the spirit of Sanguinius, or Gilliman, but in general Dante is too old for this shit. As far as I know, he is the oldest loyal space marine who has his own arms, legs and head. As for the posing of the figure, in fact everything is quite ordinary, excellent stances. The main thing is to find a balance if they have a backpack. Thanks to the design of the armor and overall color scheme, Dante looks very beautiful, and I like his visuals more than most of the other Primaris of the other legions, including unique characters and heroes, perhaps even non-Primaris. Sometimes I have a problem with the position of the hand with an axe, to make the swing before the blow look natural and dynamic, but perhaps I'm just not used to posing figures with crushing and chopping weapons. Anyway, very interesting poses can be set using the flight stand. Here I would even consider kicks during landing, and swinging the axe becomes easier. There are no difficulties working with pistol and shooting in principle. Accordingly, the combat scenes where Dante can chop up a Tyrannid or Necron or fight a Chaosite look great. It's not easy for him, but it turns out spectacularly. In the end, I would say that Dante's statics are great, and decent dynamics require a little more effort, like all the flying characters with emphasis on the close combat, by the way. A few comparisons. First, the Thermogaunt and Deathmark. Everything seems fine, but I don't know yet how to treat these. Dante is taller than the basic Primaris and has larger shoulders. Naturally smaller than the old Terminator. Looks great next to the Grey Knight. They are close in height, and the effect of the paint drop is very similar. When they stand next to each other on the shelf, it's nice to look at them. Surprisingly, Dante is still taller than the nameless warriors from the 30th millennium, but something tells me that Roldoron or Zephon, who could even be bigger than Titus, wouldn't look nice and well scaled next to Primaris Dante. The thing is that Dante is outscaled model for 40k figures. He is smaller than any first captain and master of the order. I don't have the old version of Calgar figure, but his Gravis armor is clearly larger. The situation becomes more sad, considering that Calgar was recently re-released in a new scale, and now he will probably be taller than Dante by about 2 heads. In any case, until he stands next to the Heresy captains and just fresh figures, for example next to his Primarch, in flight he looks gorgeous. I want to note that their gold color is completely different. The Sanguinius' color looks more saturated. What can be said in conclusion? Dante is a very beautiful figure in my opinion, and I like his image and character. But Dante is literally one of the last 40k Space Marines that Joytoy released in the old scale, and with any new figure in the new scale and some Heresy characters he will look unnaturally small. So here it seems obvious that there will be a reissue, but something tells me that we cannot expect it in the coming years. Regardless of this, I really like the figure visually, and it will clearly enter the top of my favorite Joytoy Space Marines. If you like Dante, Gold Color and Blood Angels, then you 100% can buy it. With Mephiston, an entire line of Blood Angels for 40k except for the latest Terminators, he will look great. This is where the review comes to an end. I will be very glad to your subscriptions and comments. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.